The school parking lot buzzed with its usual morning chaos. Cars pulled in and out, parents honked impatiently at the slightest delay, and students hurried across crosswalks, backpacks bouncing as they tried to beat the bell. The crisp autumn air carried a faint bite, mixed with the smell of exhaust and damp asphalt. Miss Carter wheeled her shiny blue sedan into her reserved spot near the faculty entrance. She glanced at the time glowing on her dashboard and groaned. Perfect. Late again. She killed the engine and snatched up her oversized tote bag from the passenger seat. It was crammed with graded papers, a half-eaten granola bar, and the kind of clutter only a stressed teacher would haul around. Balanced awkwardly on her lap had been her phone, the one she relied on for everything from lesson notes to parent calls. In her rush, she didn't notice when the device slipped off her lap and tumbled silently to the pavement. It landed near her rear tire, face down, the black case blending almost seamlessly with the gray asphalt. Completely unaware, Miss Carter swung her car door shut, locked it with a sharp beep, and strode toward the main entrance, her heels clicking briskly. She was already rehearsing the morning's lecture in her mind. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell. Because here we tell real-life lessons through real and relatable stories. Moments later, Malik and Aaliyah came around the corner of the lot. Malik, tall for 15, with a calm and steady way about him, carried a worn backpack slung over one shoulder. Beside him, Aaliyah, only 14 and endlessly chatty, skipped to keep pace with her older brother. Malik, I'm telling you, she said breathlessly, I studied for 2 hours for that math quiz. If I don't get an A, I'm blaming you for distracting me with that movie. He smirked, brushing a hand through his curly hair. You begged to watch it. Don't pin that on me. Still, if I blank on fractions, it's your fault. Then maybe do your homework instead of quoting every line from the movie. Aaliyah rolled her eyes, then shoved him lightly, their laughter echoing across the pavement. Together, they wove between cars heading steadily toward the school doors. Neither paid attention to the ground near Miss Carter's sedan. The phone remained untouched, waiting like a forgotten clue. Just as Malik and Aaliyah reached the crosswalk at the edge of the lot, a voice rang out sharply from behind them. Wait. You two, hold it right there. They turned in surprise. Miss Carter was striding back toward the lot, her tote bag slipping from her shoulder as she patted at her coat pockets frantically. Her expression was tight with worry. My phone, she muttered to herself, scanning the ground near her car. Then her eyes flicked up, narrowing slightly as she spotted the two siblings only a few feet away. The crisp air seemed to thicken between them. Malik shifted uncomfortably, while Aaliyah glanced at him with wide, questioning eyes. Miss Carter straightened, her gaze locked on the pair. You didn't happen to see a phone around here, did you? Malik and Aaliyah exchanged a quick glance before Malik cleared his throat. No ma'am. We didn't see a phone. Miss Carter sighed, brushing a strand of hair from her face. Are you sure? I swear I had it with me when I got out of the car. It couldn't have just disappeared. She crouched low, scanning the pavement near her sedan, then straightened with a frustrated groan. Could you two, maybe help me look for it? It should be somewhere close. Maybe it slipped under a car or something. Of course, Aaliyah said immediately, eager to be helpful. She dropped her backpack to the ground and bent to peek under a nearby vehicle. Malik hesitated, shifting his weight, but eventually joined in, scanning the asphalt with his eyes. For a few minutes, they searched in silence. Miss Carter circled her car, checking under tires and peering through the glass as if the phone might somehow have ended up inside. Aaliyah crawled to check beneath the bumper of another car, then popped back up with a shake of her head. No luck, she said softly. Miss Carter stood with her hands on her hips, her tote slipping down her arm. Her eyes flicked toward the siblings, narrowing slightly. Something in her tone shifted, no longer rushed and worried, but edged with suspicion. You two walked by this car earlier, didn't you? She asked suddenly. Malik straightened. Yeah, we walked by. But we didn't see your phone. Miss Carter's brows arched. Interesting. Because I'm positive I had it when I pulled in. And now it's gone. Aaliyah frowned. We didn't touch anything, Miss Carter. We were just walking to class. Miss Carter crossed her arms tightly, her voice sharpening. Well, maybe you picked it up by accident. Phones can be tempting, especially when they look expensive. If you did, it's okay to just give it back now. Malik's jaw tightened. We didn't pick up your phone. Her eyes locked on him, scanning his face for cracks. Then, with a sudden firmness, she said, Open your backpacks. Both of you. Let me check. Aaliyah blinked, stunned. What? Why? Because, Miss Carter said quickly, if the phone isn't on the ground, then someone must have it. And you two were the only ones close enough. I can't just let this go missing. Malik stepped back, shaking his head. With all due respect, ma'am, you can't just accuse us like that. We didn't take anything. Aaliyah clutched her backpack protectively to her chest. This isn't fair. We were trying to help. Miss Carter's voice rose slightly, the desperation in it morphing into impatience. Don't make this harder than it has to be. I'm a teacher. Your students. That means you do as I say. Malik squared his shoulders, his voice steady but firm. Not when you're accusing us of something we didn't do. The tension in the parking lot thickened, the bustle of students in the distance drowned out by the weight of the standoff. Miss Carter's eyes darted between them, frustration bubbling higher with each second. The polite request for help had crumbled, now only suspicion remained. Miss Carter's eyes darted back to the siblings' backpacks. Her voice tightened, losing any trace of calm. Hand them over. Right now. Aaliyah shook her head quickly. No. You're accusing us without proof. Malik took a small step back, his tone controlled but laced with anger. We told you we didn't take your phone. What part of that don't you understand? Miss Carter's lips pressed into a thin line. She took a step toward them, heels clicking sharply on the pavement. If you've got nothing to hide, then you won't mind me looking. Unless, maybe you do have something to hide. Aaliyah's face flushed with frustration. That's not fair. You asked us to help, and now you're treating us like criminals. Malik stood his ground. Come on, Aaliyah. We're leaving. We don't have time for this. He turned to walk toward the entrance, tugging at his backpack strap. But before he could take 2 steps, Miss Carter reached out, grabbed the edge of his bag and yanked. Malik stumbled forward, and the strap snapped against his shoulder. Her other hand snagged his shirt, the fabric tearing with an ugly rip. Hey! Malik shouted, whirling around, his voice booming across the lot. He clutched the torn side of his shirt. You just ripped my clothes. Aaliyah gasped. Miss Carter, what is wrong with you? Miss Carter's face flushed red. I told you to stop. If you'd just cooperated, none of this would have happened. Malik's eyes burned with fury. We didn't take your stupid phone. And now you're putting your hands on us? You're way out of line. Aaliyah's voice cracked, equal parts angry and afraid. We're telling Principal Daniels about this. He's going to know exactly what you did. Miss Carter crossed her arms, though her hand trembled slightly. Go ahead. It'll be your word against mine. And between a teacher and 2 students? Who do you think she's going to believe? For a moment, silence hung heavy in the air, until a calm but firm voice cut through. Actually, the voice said, there's another option. All 3 heads snapped toward the source. Principal Daniels stood a few feet away, arms folded, a sharp but composed look in her eyes. She had approached quietly, catching the entire scene as it unfolded. Principal, Miss Carter began, her tone suddenly soft and sweet. I heard everything, Principal Daniels interrupted smoothly. From accusing these 2 of theft, to tearing a student's shirt. That's not exactly what I'd call just. Malik let out a breath of relief. Aaliyah clutched his arm, her face still flushed. Miss Carter stammered, words tumbling out. I thought they had my phone. I only asked them to help, but then... Daniels raised a hand, silencing her. We'll talk in my office. 10 minutes. Don't be late. She turned to Malik and Aaliyah, her expression softening. Are you 2 all right? Malik nodded stiffly, though his torn shirt spoke louder than words. We're fine now. Thanks for stepping in. Principal Daniels gave him a reassuring nod. Good. Head on to class. I'll handle this. As the siblings walked toward the school entrance, Aaliyah whispered, See? I told you she wouldn't get away with it. Malik exhaled, his jaw unclenching. Yeah. But this isn't over yet. Behind them, Miss Carter stood frozen by her car, clutching her tote bag as if it might anchor her. The phone she'd been so frantic about still lay hidden by her back tire, untouched. The ticking of the wall clock filled the silence in Principal Daniels' office. A stack of unopened files sat neatly on her desk, untouched since she had hurried in from the parking lot. Her sharp gaze was fixed on the woman seated across from her. Miss Carter sat stiffly in the wooden chair, hands folded in her lap. Her tote bag rested at her feet, the leather handle trembling from where her fingers had nervously clutched it on the way in. She tried to hold her chin high, but the faint sheen of sweat on her forehead betrayed her unease. Principal Daniels leaned forward slightly, her voice calm but edged with steel. Miss Carter, I don't think I need to ask you why you're here. I saw what happened in the parking lot with Malik and Aaliyah. Miss Carter shifted uncomfortably. Principal Daniels, I think there's been some misunderstanding. I thought those kids had my phone. I panicked. That's all it was, a mistake. Daniel's brows arched. A mistake? You accused 2 students without evidence. You demanded to search their belongings. And when they refused, which they had every right to do, you put your hands on Malik and tore his shirt. Miss Carter swallowed hard. I didn't mean to. I was just trying to stop him before he... Before he what? Daniel's tone sharpened. Before he walked away from you? He wasn't threatening you. He wasn't disrespectful. He simply refused to let you violate his privacy. That's not a crime. That's his right. Miss Carter's shoulders slumped slightly, but she tried again. Principal Daniels, you know how things are. Students today, they're not always honest. I thought I was protecting school property. I acted in the heat of the moment. Daniels leaned back in her chair, steepling her fingers. Protecting school property? That phone wasn't even school-issued. It was your personal device, which, for the record, was found under your own car. Miss Carter's head snapped up, eyes widening. You found it? Yes, Daniel said evenly. Exactly where you left it. If you had taken 2 seconds to actually check before making accusations, we wouldn't be here right now. A beat of silence passed. Miss Carter's face paled as the weight of those words settled. Daniels continued, her tone unyielding. This isn't the first time a complaint has reached my office about your treatment of students. I gave you the benefit of the doubt before. But what I saw today leaves me no choice. Miss Carter's throat tightened. Please, Principal Daniels. I've been teaching here for 12 years. This school is my life. Don't let one bad day erase all of that. Daniel's eyes softened, but only slightly. Your years of service don't give you permission to mistreat children. As principal, it's my duty to protect them, not your reputation. Effective immediately, you are relieved of your position. Miss Carter blinked rapidly, her breath catching. You're firing me? Daniels nodded once. Yes. And I'll also be recommending to the board that your retirement benefits be reviewed, given the severity of what I witnessed. Pack your things and do not set foot on this campus again. For the first time, Miss Carter's composure cracked. Oh, I'm so sorry, she whispered. Daniel's gaze was firm, unflinching. So am I. She gestured toward the door. You may go. Miss Carter rose slowly, her tote bag clutched against her chest. She hesitated, but Daniel's silence urged her forward. The teacher left the office, each step echoing with the weight of finality. Daniels exhaled, the firmness in her eyes never wavering. Outside, she could already hear the faint murmur of students swapping stories about what had just happened in the parking lot. Word was spreading fast, and perhaps that was for the best. The late morning sun poured through the wide glass windows of the main office, casting long beams of light across the polished floor. Malik and Aaliyah sat on a bench just outside Principal Daniels' office, their backpacks resting by their feet. Malik leaned back against the wall, arms folded. Man, I can't believe all that just happened before first period. Aaliyah hugged her knees, her voice small but steady. I kept telling you we should have gone straight inside. Now look. Before Malik could reply, the office door creaked open. Principal Daniels stepped out, her heels clicking lightly against the tile. She looked at the siblings with a faint, reassuring smile. You two can relax, she said warmly. I've handled everything. Aaliyah tilted her head. What's gonna happen to Miss Carter? Daniel's expression grew firmer. That's not something you need to worry about. What matters is that you both were unfairly accused and I saw the whole thing. Neither of you are in any trouble. Malik exhaled in relief. Thank you, Principal Daniels. I swear we didn't. Daniels raised a hand gently. You don't need to explain. I know exactly what happened. Her tone softened, carrying a trace of compassion. Considering everything you've just gone through this morning, I've decided to give both of you the rest of the day off. Go home, get some rest. You've earned it. Aaliyah's eyes widened. Wait, you mean like, no classes? That's right, Daniels replied with a small grin. No classes, no homework, a full day to yourselves. Aaliyah nearly jumped from the bench. Best day ever. Malik chuckled, shaking his head. Guess today wasn't all bad. Daniels patted Aaliyah on the shoulder before straightening. Now head on home. I'll call your parents to let them know. Don't worry, they'll be proud of how you handled yourselves. The siblings rose, slinging their backpacks over their shoulders. Thank you, Principal Daniels, they said in unison before heading toward the exit, their steps lighter than before. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to check out our other videos for more inspiring life lessons.